Guys, we are only about 5 days away from the unveiling of the Pixel 10 series of devices, and that obviously includes the Pixel 10 Pro Fold. But that close proximity has not slowed down the leaks at all. In today's video, we're going to look at a flurry of new leaks and information, and some of this is going to answer some of the big questions we've had about the Pixel 10 Pro Fold. So a while back, I showed you this leaked imagery coming from Evan Blass on Twitter, and this does appear to show a magnetic charging puck attached to the base model Pixel 10, and it does obviously appear like this is happening with no case. There have been lots of rumors that Google is going to be introducing something called Pixel Snap. This is basically their version of MagSafe, and this would require magnets built into the Pixel 10 devices. We'd even seen spec sheets that specifically call out Pixel Snap wireless charging, but we have yet to see this in any way, shape, or form on the foldable version of the Pixel 10. It seems to be never mentioned at all. With all that in mind, we are looking at this tweet from Evan Blass, who is the source of everything that I just showed you, and they say they can confirm that the Pixel 10 Pro Fold will indeed be Qi 2 compliant. What does that mean? Well, it should mean that the magnet is in there. Apparently, there's a difference between Qi 2 Ready and Qi 2 Compliant. Qi 2 Ready is typically just used for devices that can do the fast charging, but they don't actually have that magnet built in. Compliant should imply that the magnet is there, and if that is true, that might help explain why the Pixel 10 Pro Fold's weight isn't coming down. It's staying around 258 grams. Bigger battery, built-in magnet. That does start to make more sense. Now, you guys know that I've said multiple times with these Pixel Snap rumors swirling that you should kind of be a little bit cautious getting too excited about the idea of this being built into the next Pixel Fold, because it's the thickness of the device, the weight. It appears as though Evan Blass is saying it's going to be there. I am still at least a little bit skeptical on this front. But now we can turn our attention to this leak coming from, originally, Roland from WinFuture.de. Apparently, this is data that is coming from an official spec sheet. So this should all be very accurate, and it pretty much reveals everything. If you want to see this full spec sheet, I will put a link to this article in the description down below. I'm just going to quickly go through and point out a few things that maybe we had questions about that now seemingly we have an answer to. In a prior video and a prior article where I kind of condensed all of the known hardware rumors, I talked about how we had heard that the cover display would hit 3000 nits of peak brightness. Well, according to Roland's leak, the inner screen is going to be doing the same. HDR is a little bit dimmer at 1800 nits. You're not really going to notice that, 2000 versus 1800. But that inner screen can apparently boost up to 3000 nits. If I'm not mistaken, the Z Fold 7 is 2600 nits. So it's possible that the Pixel 10 Pro Fold is going to have a brighter screen than the Z Fold 6. That is actually very, very surprising and great to see. If we scroll down and look at the camera section, we do get more confirmation that what we have kind of known about the camera system is accurate. It is the same setup of sensors, with one change, that this primary is likely switching to a Samsung GN8, which is the same primary that is in the Pixel 9a. But notice down here where it says zoom, I think this is Google playing a little bit fast and loose with some of these terms, but I guess they're not the only ones that have done this. Where it says optical, it says 0.5, 1x, and 5x, and I have no problem with that because those are indeed the sensors that are on the device. But it also says 10x for optical zoom. And that's, I mean, maybe there's a way you could say that's technically okay, but in my mind, optical means you have a sensor, you have a lens that is 5x. That is an optical zoom. 10x is a hybrid zoom. It's a combination of using the 5x optical and then an additional 5x that is going to be zooming in further, that is a digital crop. That is a hybrid zoom. Digital up to 20x. Well, I would say that 10x is also half digital as well. So why they're calling that an optical zoom, I don't know. Maybe they're just saying, hey, at 10x, it's lossless. I kind of doubt that because it's only a 10.8 megapixel sensor. This is not a high resolution sensor that you can more easily digitally crop into. I think that's a little bit questionable. We do have confirmation of that larger 5015 milliamp hour battery, over 24 hours of battery life, 72 hours with extreme battery saver mode. Like I told you guys a couple days ago, 15 watts is the charging speed. If you were hoping it was 25 watts, as we've seen with Qi 2.2, they are not doing that. It's 15 watts. They're sticking with the Qi 2 charging speed. We have confirmation of the dimensions. We are 10.8 millimeters thick when opened, or closed rather. That'd be a very thick device. And 5.2 millimeters thick when it is open. We also have confirmation of that 258 gram weight. But notice here that none of this also mentions Pixel Snap compatibility. If you want to know why I'm still holding on to a little bit of skepticism, it's because literally no leak ever has mentioned Pixel Snap being compatible with the Pixel Fold, and that you have to take that on board and consider that it's possible. I know that we have Evan Blass saying it's going to be a thing, but just again, kind of put a pin in that and wait until it's announced officially before you get too excited, because it's just not appearing in any of the leaks. We also did get another teaser video about the Pixel Fold where it talks about how people used to stand in line for phones, and it says, what happened? Did people change? And then I think what it says is, or did phones basically fail to change? And then they show their foldable phone and, sort of implying like, hey, phones aren't exciting anymore, so get yourself a phone that's different than a phone that you've had in the past. And I actually do think that that is a pretty cool little bit of marketing that I tend to agree with. There's a reason that I focus on foldable phones. I find most slab phones to just be a little bit boring. Like, we've kind of seen them all a million times over and over. I like that folding phones are sort of pushing boundaries and doing new things. And even though some of you don't care about crazy thinness and crazy weight reductions, to me, it is cool, just minimum, because it's just different. It's just the technology being pushed. And sometimes we can push technology into the direction of not being useful. We have to kind of merge the two. It's not enough to just be different for the sake of being different, or to do new technology just because it's new. I totally get that. It needs to be new and useful, but that's neither here nor there. I'm getting into an entirely different subject. Guys, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments down below how you feel about this device. Was there anything new in this spec sheet that got you excited? Personally, seeing 3000 nits of brightness on that inner screen, definitely cool to see. Confirmation of the bigger battery is definitely cool to see. But what else did you pull out from that spec sheet? Again, link in the description down below. Subscribe for more content just like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.